Welcome to Kardec Radio, where you nourish your soul daily. As you wait for our next program, The Medium's Book, visit Kardec Publisher at kardecpublisher.com to check out our latest books. Also, check out our Kardec Flicks, Spiritism in a Click. Just go to kardecflix.com. And now with you, our host, Dr. Vanessa Anseloni, with the program The Medium's Book. Enjoy it.
Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio. Here we are in another program on the Medium's Book. And today, you and I are going to study chapter 30. Can you believe it? In this book, there are 32 chapters. We are on chapter 30. This is amazing. Amazing Grace. It is Amazing Grace because this book specifically, the Medium's Book, is a book that comes to lead us to a new understanding about how to practice mediumship productively, safely. So first thing we have learned, don't do it alone. You need teams. If you want to be a good medium, working by yourself is not going to go places. You need teamwork effort. The best mediums in the world have always teamworked. And we need also a group. This group is the Spiritist Society, right? Isn't it? Yes, it is. It's the Spiritist Society, and Kardec formed the first Spiritist Society in the world on April 13th, 1858. We'll never forget it. April 13th, 1858. And as a wonderful coordinator of this movement that is transforming lives, he publishes the regulations of the Parisian Society for Spiritist Studies. That's how he named the first Spiritist Society. You want to see more? I'm going to show you more. Come with me, and we're live, so feel free to ask questions here in our chat, right here. Make your comments, ask your questions, participate, and when you're done, like, share, subscribe, go to YouTube channel, like it so more people can see it. Today, Chapter 30, Regulation of the Parisian Society for Spiritist Studies, Kardec shares with us 29 articles. You know, Spiritist societies, they need to be regulated. We need to say exactly how it's going to flow. And if you want to form a Spiritist society, or you have one, read this chapter, because in between the lines, Kardec is going to reveal the order of events. In these 29 articles, he separates in articles related to the purpose of the Spiritist Center and how it's composed, of who composes the society. 2, how the administration goes by. 3, how you operate the meetings, especially mediumistic meetings, and miscellaneous dispositions. So let's go one by one. First of all, as I said to you, it says April 1st. No, April 13th. See, this is a picture of one of the first Spiritist centers in Brazil. 107 years ago, this center was formed by family members of ours in the countryside of the state of São Paulo. Spiritist Center, this is Spiritist Center, Light and Charity. I was translating my mind. Luz e caridade, light and charity. And Kardec says that Spiritist centers, their only purpose is to aid startup societies, which may take as guidelines the provisions, the rules that he outlined is for whomever has a center, whomever is starting it up, has the provisions that he considers to be useful and applicable to their own set of circumstances. So let's check what he says. The first Spiritist center on earth was created in Paris by Kardec, in this very place that you're seeing this picture, Passage Saint-Anne. If you visit Paris, go to this place and you're going to stop by. Everything's small, very simple. And I'm always surprised when people get discouraged. Oh, because the center's small. But Jesus was born in a manger, in a stable. And people want to have mega spiritist centers. Something is off, friends. Because the smaller it is, the better the results. The society's purpose, as Kardec, is to study all the phenomena related to spirit manifestations and their application to the moral, the physical, historical, psychological sciences. Issues involving politics, religious controversy, or social economics are forbidden. This is so interesting, huh? But Vanessa, things are happening in my country, and I want to talk to people about what's happening to the politicians. You can talk, but not during the meetings. If you want to talk to your friend, you can, but not in the meetings. We're not going to talk about controversies of religion. We're not going to talk about socioeconomics. And this is something that we should observe as well in our Spiritist centers. Registered members compose the society. So there is membership. There are those who are members, and there is a screening for membership. Kardec says that first you are a free associate for a year, and then you may become a registered member. But there are duties and rights. And there are what he called correspondence members, because at the time he was the only Spiritist society. He had only one. So many people writing and partaking into the steps of studying Spiritist phenomena. Honorary members. He says, those people, local or not, who have great contribution to the Spiritist science may be considered elected. They are elected honorary members. And there is a membership fee. It's small, but there's a fee because there are costs. Those who sympathize with its principles and those willing to be instructed, right? So here we are. You and I learning about how to screen. What is happening in the reality of today's Spiritist centers? Let's talk a little bit about it. You and I needed to pause for a second to talk about this. Nowadays, the Spiritist centers in the world, they have become almost like a hospital. People coming in with afflictions, in need of spiritual help, etc. So it changes the dynamics of membership. It changes the way you see people who are coming in and out. It changes the types of meeting that we offer to the public and in private. But we observe Kardec's caution in allowing people to participate. Later in this chapter, He's going to reveal that those people who are creating problems, they may be invited to observe their behavior once, twice, three times, and then Kardec used to give a letter asking them to step out. Kardec was very serious. And serious Spiritist centers are key for the production of serious spirit phenomena, as well as a good spiritual environment. We have a friend here online, Carol Correa. She's sharing with us. What a blessing to have Spiritism in our lives. We agree. And we have Nietzsche Miao saying, is this no talking meetings to preserve Spiritist unity? Actually, Nietzsche, let me share with you. It's not about not talking. People can talk, but depends. If you're listening to a talk, we listen. We may ask questions at the end if allowed, or afterwards. But it all depends. In a study group, we may be allowed to talk more freely, right? Because of the nature of the meeting. It depends on the type of the meeting, okay? Now, let's go back to Kardec and see what else he's going to share with us that is vital for our understanding and preparation. Hold on a second, friends. Okay. Here we are, right? Yes. All right. So he says, all members are mutually obligated to display benevolence and good manners, and in all circumstances must place the general good above personal issues and self-importance. Look at this picture. This picture was a drawing based on Kardec's reports of his meeting, the disposition of the meeting. So you can picture it, a long table, several people around the mediumistic table, and people in the audience. In some Spiritist centers, that may be the case. In our center, we don't have an audience because, and usually majority of Spiritist centers don't have audience during Spiritist meetings, like mediumistic meetings, because it may disrupt. If the people in the audience are not fully trained, it changes the dynamics of the meeting. And the drawing shows the types of spirits that were connected to the mediums. And you can see here the picture of Jesus Christ on the right corner, top corner, showing to us that he is guiding all the works that came through Kardec. So when we go to a Spiritist center, what is our disposition? Do we go there because we have nothing else to do? Do we go there because, I don't have friends? Do we go there because we want to learn? Do we go there because I want to serve? You see, friends, Kardec says that the members must be benevolent and have good manners. So we have to watch our attitude, our behavior. If you enter a Spiritist center and you start gossiping, you are the problem in the Spiritist center. You became a problem because gossipers are instruments of the evil forces. So that's why Kardec is going to tell us about how we should administer the Spiritist center. In another set of articles, he's going to disclose that in the Parisian Society for Spiritist Studies, they have a director president, members of a board, and a commission to evaluate what's happening. The board has a president, a general secretary, 2 assistant secretaries, and a treasurer. There are elections in the Parisian Society for Spiritist Studies, and there is a membership fee and a card of attendance. It's so interesting to observe how Kardec was careful, and the times in which he created a society also justify the need for those minutious account of who is there. They were living a very critical political time in France at the time, in which gatherings of people were not allowed. So he made to an exception at a time in which, if he were not respected as he was, even by the emperor at the time, he would not be allowed to do these meetings. So he made sure also that they could be secured in their goals by creating this very deep organization. The commission would evaluate the finances, would evaluate the mediumistic messages as well, together with the board, to make sure that we were on the same track. And you see, Kardec created this society in 1858. He discarnated 9 years later in 1869. During that time being, the 9 years, we've never heard of major problems. Because Kardec secured the ends of the dynamics. And he has articles in the incorporation of the society talking about the dynamics of mediumistic meetings. He says, first of all, there is a precise time people need to be on time. In the Spiritist Society of Virginia, when we start our meetings, that's how it goes. Starts 11 a.m. on Sunday. So we start with the reading of a message. When we do the initial prayer, a friend goes there, locks the door. Nobody enters anymore. Why? Because though it's not an explicit mediumistic meeting, every meeting is a mediumistic meeting, because we are being instruments of the spirits who want to communicate. And the environment needs to be sealed. If people get late, we cannot open the door. Serious Spiritist meetings like Kardec used to do. He took attendance for the members of the society. I already explained to you the reasons why. Because he's seeing who is committed, who is really into the seriousness of the society. So remember, Kardec says in the articles of incorporation of the Spiritist Society of Paris, he says, each Spiritist center is going to dictate how they want to organize themselves. So if you visit a Spiritist center or you become part of it and you don't agree with it, solution, leave and form a Spiritist center that you like. Because people are not going to change. And if we keep going to the Spiritist center and we disagree and dislike and we don't help, we are becoming the obsessors of the Spiritist center. I don't think anybody wants that role, right? I don't think we do. Silence and concentration are strictly required during the mediumistic meetings, and especially during study time. No one may speak without the president's permission. That's how Kardec operated, especially because they had mediumistic meetings all the time. They had public ones and private ones, he says. And they could schedule private ones as they pleased according to the needs, especially because Kardec in 1858, he only had the Spirit's book. He was still producing materials to publish in the next 9 years through the Spiritist magazine, etc. Let's observe silence and concentration. How good are you in terms of practicing silence and concentration? Are you good at it? Because if we don't practice silence and concentration during our daily lives, we will rarely be good at it in mediumistic meetings. If we're people who are always talking, you are unable to sit down next to somebody and you need to talk. Not prepared for mediumistic meetings. We need to practice in our daily lives how to be quiet, how to be concentrated, mindful. So practice daily at home. Being quiet. No phone, no screen, no nothing. Breathing, closing your eyes, because in mediumistic meetings we close our eyes for concentration. To avoid distractions, we dim the lights. If we are unable to sit still for an hour and a half without talking, we're unable to be in mediumistic meetings. Okay, let's go back. What else does Kardec share with us? He shares with us that anyone who wants to attend only out of curiosity or whose opinions are hostile, they must absolutely be refused in their admission. Okay? I remember in the Spiritist Society of Baltimore, we were in a workshop setting, and two men who were from a particular religion came with their Bibles under their armpits, literally. They sat down, they were well received, they came with a friend, a member of the society, because we were talking about reincarnation. During our talk, they would constantly raise their hands and flip the pages quickly, flip the pages of the Bible, looking at us, and then the mentors said, Vanessa, don't let them speak yet. At a certain time, the mentor said, let them speak. And they were very hostile in their comments. Thanks to the good spirits, we dodged, we were able to finalize. But at the end of the meeting, instead of leaving, they took two of our members and started arguing about Spiritism, trying to convince us otherwise. It was when a friend came to me and said, Vanessa, take a look. I stopped by with the elderly one and I said, this is a Spiritist center. We study what you've heard. If you're interested, you're welcome to come back. If you want to change our minds, it was nice meeting you. Thank you. The door is there. Thank you very much. That's how it is, friends. We're not here to discuss, to argue, to power struggle. But within the Spiritist Center, the people who are directing it need to have strong hands, kindness and strong hands, firmness to say, this is the boundary. Because if we allow incarnates to be disruptive, imagine that the discarnates were invisible to most people. What about Spiritist centers in the world? Kardec is inviting with that chapter to form these groups that are dedicating themselves to the education of our spiritual being. There is no place like that on earth but in Spiritist centers, true schools for the education of the spiritual being that we are. In Brazil alone, says the last census that we have more than 4 million Spiritists, though the population itself is very open to Spiritism. The second country where we'll find more Spiritists is Colombia in South America. And we have thousands of Spiritist centers in Brazil, in other countries, in Europe. They say at least in 55 countries around the world. What about you? Where are you located? If you want more guidance and information on how to form groups, we have helped over the decades many groups around the world. Contact us at kardecradio@gmail.com. We will support you in your effort. Remember, simple and small, but surely. That's how we begin, and that's how we continue, with order. And Kardec already gave us the recipe. When we formed our Spiritist Center in Baltimore and also in Virginia, we relied upon the articles of incorporation, the regulations that Kardec gave, and adjusted to our reality. It's impossible to fail because Kardec has secure guidance for us. I know we're going to continue next week with chapter 31, Dissertations of Spirits. How do you screen messages that come through mediums? How do we know the one that is true versus the one that is not true, the fraudulent ones? How do we screen that out? Next week, Elsa Rossi is going to be with us to talk about chapter 31 of the Medium's book. Thank you, friends. We wish you many blessings, and we look forward to seeing you next week.